Hey everyone. So, I thought I would do something new for a video, other than my normal YouTube short uploading that I've been doing, and go over a topic that interests me at the moment. The new Chaotic Alliance raid in Final Fantasy XIV, which I'll definitely have clips of, the fight going on in the background, so, it's not just me talking and this video isn't too boring. Now, I say new, but this fight came out December 24th of last year. So, yeah, Christmas Eve for most of us. Still, it's new enough that there are people still doing the fight. You can find parties in the game more or less daily, still. Myself included, I'm still trying to finish the fight, get all of the mounts and gear and everything. So I thought it would be good to go over some of what I think are pros and cons of this fight, stuff I like, stuff I don't, etc. So first off, I should probably explain a bit about the fight. Now, this is new content in the terms that it's something Square Enix hasn't done until now. So if you know anything about Alliance raids in the game, they involve 24 people. And this is kind of like that, but more like an extreme version. So it's 24 people and you're fighting a single boss together. It's, from what I've looked at, a bit higher in difficulty than extremes, by like a little bit, but from what I've heard from other people, more lenient and forgiving than Savage content when it comes to people messing up mechanics. And the damage output you have to do to actually defeat the boss before Enrage. As someone who has never done extreme or savage content at level, I usually wait until next expansion and do stuff unsynced to get them out. I'd say the fight isn't too difficult to learn. As, again, someone new to this kind of content. Like, it feels overwhelming at first when you first start trying to learn and do the fight, but you can actually learn the mechanics pretty easy. Definitely helps that everything you see in the Chaotic Alliance raid, you have seen in other content up to this point. The Chaotic raid is level 100, you have to have a level 100 character to be there and do it, and still need at least item level 10 gear. Or, like, not 10, 710, sorry. You need, like, 710 gear, your item level, to be that, to do the fight. So, by that point, you should be, well aware of the mechanics of the game, seeing a lot of the fights. And a lot of the stuff you see in this fight gets reused. And, you've probably seen in other content, like trials or raids or etc. Any of you who play the game will probably notice a lot of it as, the fight's going on in the background. The actual difficulty of this fight, for me, seems to come from, like, two things. One of them is, like, some of the mechanics in the fight, mainly the body checks, which, rely on more or less the entire Alliance doing their part, or you wipe. And probably the number one most difficult thing about this fight is Party Finder, is actually getting a group together and getting in to do the fight. So, my first point, body checks. They're the make or break it point for this fight. Like, whether or not you're gonna wipe or make it to the ending clear relies heavily on the body check mechanics in this fight. Like, you can know what you have to do as, like, your single player, nail every, mechanic, never get hit once. But if one of those body checks are missed, you're failing. You're dead. So, the number one mechanic, the body check that everyone seems to fail, even farm parties I've seen, so people who have cleared the fight should know what they're doing, so you can keep clearing to, like, try to get loot, is the tower mechanic, where you have to stand in a specific spot, usually either by yourself if you're on tiles, or, like, maybe with one or two other people, And it's like you soak, basically, like there's a meteor coming down, and it's like you stand in the tower, soak the meteor, and it keeps you from getting hit with vulnerability stacks, which make you take more damage, and from getting hit by a bunch of damage from the tower failing. I don't know what it is about towers, because you see the tower mechanic in a lot of raids, even like normal content, normal trials and raids, and yet people will mess this mechanic up the most out of any other mechanic you see in the fight. I'd say if you can make it through the fight without like a single tower blowing up on you, like someone messing up that mechanic, either because like they're dead or they don't stand in it for whatever reason, you should consider the group you're with blessed. Because even like, again, farm parties, you'll see at least one tower get missed and like blow up and do damage. Outside of towers, I'd say like the more common things, I guess you would consider like raid-wide, this will, kill everyone kind of deal, mess up the entire fight if people aren't doing the mechanics correctly, are there's a chasing laser event that happens kind of mid to late fight where people on the tiles, and hopefully I'll have video of this for you guys in the background so it's not just me talking about it, where it's like people on tiles will be targeted and they have to basically run a full loop around the arena on the tiles with this like laser beam chasing after them. And you have to run right away if you get targeted with that laser. If you don't run right away, it'll likely hit you and kill you. And if it kills you, it doesn't stop there. It targets a new person and will likely kill them as well. And I've seen a lot of the times people die either because they don't run right away or because someone is standing in their path that they're supposed to run and it just blocks them off and they either die because this is happening on tiles, and the whole tile mechanic is if you stand on a tile with someone else, the tile disappears and you both fall and die. So it's like if someone's blocking your way, you either run into them and you both die that way, which again, chasing laser, it's going to go after someone new, or they get out of the way too late, so you get hit by the laser and still die. Which, if it wasn't for the fact that the laser moves on to someone else, this mechanic wouldn't be a big deal. But because it will target someone new, you can easily go from like one or two people dead to like 4, 5, 6 onwards dead from this chasing laser. Depending on how early on someone died being chased. The other big thing that seems to kill a lot of people too is people on platforms will get a debuff where it's like a countdown, and once the countdown goes off, a laser beam kind of fires off in the direction they're looking. And a lot of times, some people they don't look at their debuff counter, and they'll hit someone else with their laser, either someone on tiles or their fellows on the platform with them. And it does a lot of damage. Like a good chunk of your health goes missing when you get hit by that laser. Or, if you're already low health, it outright kills you. So it's like, I'd say besides towers, the chasing laser and then like debuffs people get on platform are like the major killers that can lead to you wiping this fight. Every other mechanic, pretty easy to figure out and learn and like get control of. But like, if your group isn't on point with like those three things, the towers, the chasing laser, and like managing their debuffs, you're gonna struggle with this fight. You're gonna have a bad time. I would also like to note that a lot of this body check content wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that there are 24 people you have to manage. Like, normally, content like this, like Savage and Extreme content, you're a group of 8. But here, it's like a full alliance, so it's 24 people, like 3 groups of 8. And trying to have everyone on the same page, doing the same things, being where they're supposed to be at all times, it's a lot to manage. It's difficult. You're gonna see a lot of wiping in this fight. I would say if you're going to this, be prepared for failure. And, like, don't be afraid of, like, failure. Just expect it. Always. You know, try to be chill and, like, eventually you will get your clear, you know? And then the number requirements for this fight, the 24 people, brings me to my second point of why this fight is hard, and, like, the hardest thing about this, which is Party Finder, to be honest. It's, like, the number one hurdle of this fight. Like, I managed to learn the mechanics, I feel, pretty quickly about, like, what I'm supposed to do and where I'm supposed to stand as ranged, because I go into this fight as Bard. It's, like, where I stand, where I'm supposed to be for this mechanic, and what I'm supposed to do for that mechanic. I got all of that down, like, to a T. Like, mainly the things that kill me now when I do this fight are stuff out of my control, so, like, people missing towers, or someone hitting me with their debuff, etc. Raid-wide damage killing me. You know, things I can't, as my single self, manage, control. Yeah, with Party Finder being the way it is, and with, like, even me learning the mechanics, you know, well enough, I didn't get a clear for this fight until roughly 3 weeks or so after it released. So the fight came out December 24th, and I got a clear, I think around, if I'm looking at the screenshot I have, I didn't record my first clear, sorry guys, I wasn't really thinking about it. Didn't expect I would get a clear, to be fair, at that moment in time. But yeah, I got a clear around, like, January 15th, so yeah, roughly, like, 3 weeks. And that was with me attempting the fight almost every single day. There were a few days I took off to, like, you know, I needed a break or to, like, play something else. But it was, like, every single day for, I want to say, about 3 or 4 hours a day. For 3 weeks. And it's like, it wasn't because, you know, the fight's hard. It's because keeping a group together is the most difficult thing for Chaotic. Like, Party Finder is your best bet for getting this fight if you try to queue, like, normal through Duty Finder, like I foolishly tried to do when the fight first came out. You're either going to be stuck there for hours waiting, or you're never going to get in. You know, unless you're lucky and you can form a large static group or a part of a large static group, which I'm very jealous of all of you who can do that. Yeah, Party Finder is going to be your best bet for doing this fight, but it's hell. Party Finder is hell. So a lot of times you'll go to Party Finder, you'll look at the groups, and it'll either be someone, it's labeled practice, they're at a certain progress point, or, you know, they've cleared their farming. I will say a lot of the progress point groups I've seen where they say they're at a certain mechanic, like brambles or the swap, etc., it feels like a lot of people that join them are liars. They are lying about where they are in the fight. Because you could say, you know, join Bramble Prog, which is the point where you drop the little seeds and then there's tethers and everything. And you'll probably never see those brambles. Most likely in that group, you're going to be stuck wiping at towers over and over. You know, until someone leaves the party, which, you know, causes everyone else to back out, and then like 5 or 10 other people drop out. And either you're stuck waiting to refill, or the group disbands. And you have to go find a new party, and then wait, you know, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, to get back into the fight. Yeah. Even farm parties, by the way, where it's like everyone has cleared, they've done the fight, you know, at least once or twice, you know, to get that clear, before you're gonna have the same issue. You're gonna see a lot of people wiping to towers, and it's just a never-ending cycle. It's like, join a party, wipe a few too many times for someone's liking, have that person and a bunch of other people leave, send in Party Finder to, you know, have new people show up, or, you know, that party just disbands because, you know, things aren't just going good that day, and it's like rinse and repeat. You'll be in Party Finder more than you will ever be in the actual fight. Like, either learning the fight or, like, getting clears. You will be in Party Finder, like, 80% of the time. Unfortunately. I've also noticed, this fight brings out a lot of toxic people. There's been a lot of, like, toxic behavior going on because of the chaotic raid. And, like, I've been on the receiving end of it. I'll probably show the screenshot here. One of the fights I joined, which I want to list it. I didn't take a screenshot of the party. I should have. But it was a... Sorry, my voice got weird there. It was a clear/re-clear group. It wasn't a farm party or anything. It was clear, re-clear, and Rangers walk up. And the only label for it was loot. It wasn't like duty complete, so like, you know, you had to have finished the fight, etc., anything like that. And we did a few pulls. I didn't get hit by, like, you know, any of the mechanics I can dodge. But after, like, I want to say 1 or 2 wipes, I had the healer in my group accusing me of not buffing the party. Which, as Bard, you know, you have multiple buffs, and I was buffing. It turns out their problem wasn't that I wasn't buffing, because I was buffing. They were upset that I was holding one of my buffs for... You know, it's fairly early on in the fight. There's like a stage transition where the platform becomes like a diamond shape, and the boss, Cloud of Darkness, gets a debuff where she takes more damage. So I was saving one of my party-wide buffs for when she has that damage debuff. And it was also around that time that I would use my pods, my potion, that increases my dexterity, which makes me do more damage. But yeah, apparently for that healer, and I guess a few other people in my party, holding onto that buff was a no-no. Even though the transition happens fairly early in the fight. I don't know the exact time. I want to say like, what, 20-30 seconds? Sure, if you're, you know, I'll put up a video of when it happens. But yeah. It's just like the way they phrased it. Like, I wasn't doing any buffs at all. Like, I wasn't doing what I need to be doing. And then, you know, another person chiming in that I must not know how to play my class. It was just like, alright, I'm out. Like, I'm not very confrontational, so I didn't say anything to them. I didn't try to correct them or anything. I just kind of left the party and made use of the mute and blacklist feature Final Fantasy has, so I'll never see messages from those people again. But yeah, it was also wild to me to see that, because every fight I've done up to that point, and I had at least 2 or 3 clears by this point, joining that party, no one said anything to me about how I was playing. No one made a comment about me holding my 1 buff until the transition. There was nothing. There were like no complaints. So, yeah, I don't really know what that was about. But yeah, every time I join a party, I see a lot of people talking about, like, you know, that toxicity. Like, some say it's, like, normal for Savage content, like, content at this level, and some other people have said, like, for whatever reason, this raid has brought out way more toxicity than they thought there would be. Again, I'm not someone who does high-end content regularly. This is my first time doing it at level, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Those of you who do Savage content and have also done this raid. Is the toxicity worse for Chaotic Alliance raid, or is this, you know, kind of the standard stuff you'd see when trying to do Savage through Party Finder? So, given all of that, the fight mechanics, the party requirements, maybe running toxic people, etc., what is my final view on the fight? Well, I guess to sum everything up, the fight itself is challenging, but it's super fun. Like, I really enjoy actually doing the mechanics in the raid. It's just, all of that is kind of bogged down, and off-put by Party Finder. like I said, you know, you're probably gonna be spending more time in Party Finder than you will in the fight itself. And that's probably what really brings this content down for me. Like, I'm trying to do a lot of it. I'm doing the raid a lot because I want to get all the mounts and everything, and yeah, it's just, it feels like at this point with, you know, how Party Finder's going, it's gonna be another 2 months or so before I'm able to get the final mount, get everything I want to get. Like, that's just how it feels like it's going. I don't really know what the, you know, Final Fantasy XIV, like, dev team could do in the future to make, I don't know, Party Finder less of a hellscape to navigate, like, so you can get in and do the fight more often, you're not sitting and waiting as much. I could say, like, maybe doing, like, a halfway point between extremes and then, like, alliance raids, like, maybe not, like, 24 people, maybe, like, 12 or 16, you know? That way, it's like, Party Finder would fill faster, and also, you know, if you want to have more challenging stuff, you can. I'd also say maybe less body checks for future chaotic fights. Like, I don't want them to fully change the difficulty of the fight. Like I said, learning the mechanics isn't that hard, but it's like the group mechanics tend to, you know, wipe everyone, right? Even in farming groups, even with groups where everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, you'll see a lot of wiping. It's like, maybe, like, don't fully remove body checks, obviously, but, like, have smaller scale body checks, or just slightly less of them. And maybe have body checks where if you mess it up, it kills your party, so your group of 8, but doesn't fully ruin the entire alliance's chances of clearing, you know? Because right now, a lot of the body checks, if you fail it, that's more or less a wipe. Either everyone dies, or mostly everyone's dead, so, like, the other people might as well, you know, jump off the arena, kill themselves so you can restart, kind of deal. Final gripes that I'm gonna get into with this content. I kind of feel like the reward requirements a bit too high, given, again, the number of people you need to try to get together and have on the same page to clear this content. Like, I know it's the standard for extremes, and the devs kind of treat this like an extreme, where if you don't see the mount in a chest and you don't, you know, get a high roll on it to obtain the mount that way, you have to get 99 totems or crystals or whatever the, you know, currency from doing the extreme trial is called, to buy the mount from, like, a NPC vendor. And I really wish Square Enix hadn't done that for this raid. Like, the main reason I'm still going and trying to finish is to get that mount. There is the final mount I need. You need 99 Demi-Materia 1, which is one of the currencies you get from clearing the fight. And you get 2 Demi 1s per clear. Maybe a few more if, like, the bonus for the fight is going on. Sometimes there's periods where they'll be like, oh, bonus for this fight, where, you know, rarely maybe drops more frequently, or has a higher chance to drop, rather. And maybe you get some extra Demi 1 materia, but still, 99 materia for the mount. If you don't get Lucky Unseen in chest, that is 50 clears you have to get. And with Party Finder the way it is, like I said, it feels like it's gonna be another 2 months or so, if I'm lucky, to get the remaining clears I need to get that mount. Excuse me. Like, I feel like they could have cut it in half, like maybe not have it 99, maybe had it around like 50 or so, materia to get them out, and it still would be like, you know, rewarding, and you're still doing the chaotic raid a lot, right? Because, again, very difficult to have 24 people together through Party Finder and keep them together. Like, you'll probably, I'd say, just from experience, you go through like 3 or 4 different groups a day, and you get maybe 1, 2, 3 clears. 3 clears if you're extremely lucky. And this is from, like, me, who, you know, I try, like, at least 3 to 5 hours, sometimes longer if it's, you know, a weekend, attempting to clear. With parties who are at, like, the clear point, mind you. So people who have either seen Enrage, so, like, you know, got very close to, like, killing the boss, but weren't able to do enough damage time, or actual, like, people who have cleared, they're going for loot or, like, farm parties. Yeah, very lucky if you get 3 clears in a day, even just joining groups like that. So I feel like they could have lowered the amount of material you need to get that mount by like half, and it would have been fine. I don't think they needed to keep it at like the same level as like you trying to do content with 8 people. Also, like, I feel like if they're gonna have the requirements be like you need 99 to buy it, maybe increase the drop rate for it in chests. Like, it feels very, very low for like the mount or even the minion to show up in like the loot chests at the end of the fight when you clear. Like, I have roughly, I want to say, maybe 12, 13 clears at this point. And I have never seen the mount in a chest, even, you know, on the times I've cleared with the bonus happening. I've never seen the minion either, and I've probably seen the hairstyle you can get from doing this fight a single time through a chest. So, yeah, it's just like, with everything going on, the high person count requirement, party finder being a nightmare, etc., I feel like they could have made things a bit easier for people to get. You know, just a little bit. I also want to say that once you get the mount and gear you need with the Demi Materia 1, which I'll show the requirements for some of the stuff up here, the Demi Materia 1 becomes useless. And while they added an exchange rate where you can trade in Demi 1s for Demi 2, which Demi 2 are used, the other currency you can get, which are used to get the other mount and also the hairstyle. Demi Materia 2 you can use indefinitely because the second mount and hairstyle you can sell on the market board, so if you've already got them from yourself, you could just buy them again to try to make some gil, you know, on the market. I feel like the trade-in rate, though, is kind of abysmal and, like, very low. Like, it's 5 Demi 1 for a single Demi 2. And the cost for Demi Materia 2 stuff, so the mount and the hairstyle, aren't cheap. It's like 75 for the mount, 49 for the hair. So, yeah, the exchange rate just feels very, very low to me. Like, I don't think they should have it be, like, 1-to-1, obviously, but I feel like they could have had it something like, I don't know, 2 or 3 Demi 1s for a Demi 2. Yeah, but those are just, like, personal gripes. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope my rambling was at least entertaining, and some of the stuff I talked about was, you know, maybe useful, or on the same page, made you think about doing this fight, or maybe, you know, deterred you, I don't know. If I do manage to get around having a recording of a full clear of this fight before I decide to put this video on YouTube, then I'll pop it up here at the end. Otherwise, if not, thanks again for checking this out, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. I don't know if I'll make any more videos like this in the future, but yeah. Alright, bye guys.